All right, so starting another segment of Evangels MC. Now, in the series that we have, we talk about starting from the bottom. And so, the whole thing, the whole idea behind that, when we started doing this about, 18 months ago now, or 24 months ago, was what it's like to start all the way back from the bottom. And so, we're basically a few steps ahead of that right now. And so, we're moving along just fine. Everything is working as it's supposed to. But again, right now what we want to do is we just, I always told the Lord that anytime that I do anything, I just want to start with thanking Him first. And so, I just want to thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. I just want to thank you for everything that you do for us, Father. That what comes out of my mouth, Lord, that it's from my heart, Father, and that it's for edification, Father. So right or wrong, Lord, you just guide me in the Spirit, Father. I just pray that we reach out to those people that were just like me once, Lord, or just like me right now, Father, and just looking for a relationship with you, Father, and just looking to better their lives and the situations that they're in, Father. We just thank you again for everything, Lord, and your precious name, Jesus. Just give me the strength to continue and to be able to reach out to those that are in need. So, I want to start off with giving out some information. We went ahead and gave our web development team the green light to go ahead and put out the first draft of our website. It's evangelsmc.org. So that's evangels, EvangelsMC.org. So evangelsmc.org. And, take a look at our website. I believe that we already have the ability to, what do they call that? To not like the page, but to write us and give us your thoughts on what the page looks like and those things there. And so as things start to warm up, we're going to continue pressing forward. Yes, we are being affected just like everybody else with this virus that's out there that's trying to jack everybody up. But we are proceeding as cautious as we can and cautiously as we can, I guess, if that's the word. I'm just making things up now, and so we're just doing everything that we can to continue fulfilling our ministry. So again, that's evangelsmc.org. You can visit us on our Facebook page, which is Evangels MC. I'll be sharing it on the Facebook page, and so we just encourage everybody to share. You can also subscribe to our our YouTube page, and that's this page here. This is where I'm recording right now. The YouTube is also Evangels MC, and you can subscribe to that and like the video, dislike the video, give us your comments. It doesn't matter, right or wrong. Shoot us the comments. The whole idea behind our ministry is to really allow people to speak freely on the issues that they're feeling and how they're feeling about whatever it is that they're feeling. And so some people will be negative and some people will be positive. We understand that. It's A-okay. We encourage people to visit our website. We encourage people to visit our Facebook page, and we encourage people to express themselves, because it's important that you express yourself, regardless of whatever it is. I remember one time I was, just real quick, I remember one time I was in a political science class, and the teacher was like, there's no right or wrong answer. And then as soon as I spoke up, this is during the Clinton era, and as soon as I spoke up, she basically, cracked me upside my head in front of the whole class. And so, I felt a little bad about that, because she had just said that, there was no right or wrong answer. And that time, it was the whole Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton situation, and I spoke up on it, and I just said, hey, he's a dude, whatever it was that I said in those days, because, ideas and mindsets change. But anyways, the point is, regardless of wherever your mind is right now, whatever, is going on with you right now, we encourage people to express and be free, because we are all free to express ourselves. And you may get decked for it. Some people may say something to you about it or whatever it is. That's not what our page is about. Just continue, talking to us, because we're the ones that are here for you. And we will deal with whatever it is that you're going through, and concerns and questions and situations, and just opening up the dialogue so we can be able to have a conversation, and, as educated as we can, group of people, team, whatever it is that you want to do, individual. We have this form of through video, because we really can't take appointments right now, as far as going from house to house, or from church to church, or from place to place. So we definitely don't want to begin to encourage people to do things that may affect them. In that sense, that's completely something that is a personal choice. I've already chosen to continue the ministry, and to start doing the things that I need to get done. I'm putting myself at risk just like everybody else. But that brings me to the topic of today. I made sure to write it down, because I tend to go left and right real quick. And people are like, well, what's happening, right? And so I want to slow things down a little bit, and hit some points. And so the topic that I have, the topic that the Lord's been pressing on me, as far as, the things that I've been reading, and just the Spirit, it's the topic is never a good time. If there's ever a topic, it's never a good time. And so it's like, what? And I sat there and I said, Lord, well, what are you telling me? What is this? What do you mean by never a good time? And so, I've been posting some things out there on our Facebook page. Again, we're serving the Barstow community right now. I really only want to focus on the Barstow community right now, until we can start, going out there without doing too much damage to those that are around us. Obviously, in any situation, there's always going to be some damage control that needs to get done, because people always take things the way they'd like to, whatever way they want to take things. And so, what we like to do is just make sure that we focus on. I'm getting a phone call here on my other device. And so what we like to do is just make sure that we're encouraging people to log into what we have, and see a different point of view, get a different perspective on things, and go from there. And so what was the Lord telling me about never a good time? And so again, going back to that point, where the last couple of days, I've been posting some things on Facebook, and mainly to our Barstow pages, our Barstow Facebook pages and community. And of course, I know I'm going to get some positive responses and some negative responses. I'm going to get some really, really positive, responses, and I'm going to get some real negative responses. And of course, it's just a matter of managing those things, because all things are manageable. And so it's just a matter of how do we manage them, right? And so, I have people calling me a fool. I have, people telling me what to do. And it's just, it's the flavor of the month right now, right? This is the flavor of the month. And so what do I mean by the flavor of the month? Well, right now, COVID-19 is the flavor of the last couple of months. Because just a couple of months ago, people were more worried about what happened with Kobe than what was happening with COVID-19, right? And so, this was a situation that has been going on for some time, but people weren't really worried about it, because as Americans, we tend to not really worry about too many things until it hits our pockets, and then all of a sudden everybody starts to freak out. And so, never a good time. Well, in the posts, I've been saying that it's time for us to start slowly working our way out of quarantine. Now, we have self-quarantined. That means that we have, as a community, decided that it was best to follow suit with those people that are above us as far as leadership, or leading the pack as far as leadership, and responding to leadership in a very positive way. And that's really, really refreshing, because to see that we're responding in a really, really positive way, I mean, that's just incredible. Had we been in a different administration, best believe that there would have been riots and there would have been all kinds of situations, happening. And so, people will have something to say about that as well. I'm not here to argue that point. It's simply a statement. It's my opinion. Obviously, we're not in that situation. I'm thanking God each and every day that I'm not having to deal with that. Getting up in the morning and driving around with people trying to block my street, or breaking windows, or doing the who banging thing, and just causing a mess. However, we are in a point. It's a peak point, and that peak point is not so much the virus itself. The virus itself, I mean, some of us have been tested, some of us haven't been tested. Some of us are probably testing positive and we're okay, but we're still testing positive because it went through us. There's all this stuff that's going on, and it's speculation at this point. And what is speculation? Well, it's just we're guessing. And why is it a guess? Well, if you look at the social media and you look at the news and the broadcasting, every time that I turn the news on, this is something that I don't do. I don't watch the news anymore, right? And so I'm going to rephrase that, because every time that I used to turn on the news, but I realized something. I was like, you know what? Let me turn on the news and really see what's going on in the news, right? What's being said in the news. And I'm telling you, I haven't watched a news segment. I think the last time that I was on a TV where I was really into what the news was selling was Operation Shock and Awe. I think that's the last time. I want to say that was the last time. Whatever that last war that we had in Iraq, I want to say it was Operation Shock and Awe. That was the last time that I had the TV on, number one, because I don't even watch TV anymore, and the news. And it was CNN, and I left that, we'd leave that, me and my cousin, we would leave that news station on, all day. And we were just listening to what was being sold, right? Day and night. And I decided that I was going to turn the TV on at my cousin's house and just tune in to what the news is saying, right? And what's the energy behind what's being said. And boy, I was probably 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes into it. I felt like it was 10 minutes. It's like when you're on that treadmill and, you're like, you're running and you think you're going to run that mile in 5 minutes, but it's like, it's really been 2 minutes and you feel like you've been running forever. It was one of those situations for me, for those of you that understand. It was painful. Like, it was super painful. But this is one of the biggest things. You don't know unless you've been separated from that. And so what do I mean by that? It's like being around, I'll give you an example. It's, what's the best example I can use right now? Acquiring a taste. So let's say that someone doesn't really like fish. I don't like fish. I'm gonna use fish. I don't like fish. For me, I've had to acquire the taste for fish because I know that it's good for me, and it's better that I deal with the taste than ignore the fact that it's nutritional and that I should be eating it because it's good for me, right? I don't like taking the fish capsules because the fish capsules, as soon as you burp, you're like, it's a double negative for me, because it's like even the smell of fish is sometimes I just can't stand it, and so it's a double negative. But so there comes a point in time where it's like you're able to acquire the taste for it, right? I can eat tuna now, right? I can eat salmon now because I've been forcing myself to do that. It's like, when I used to smoke, I used to smoke 3 packs a day. And I realized that I wasn't smoking because I enjoyed it so much. It was because it was something that was happening to me neurologically. I was getting affected by the drug itself, and the drug was calling me, and it was just making me where I needed to smoke more. I used to smoke 3 packs a day. It's incredible. Like I can't even stand the smell of it now. And I remember that when I was coming off of it, as I was separating myself from that, I could begin to taste how nasty they really were. Now, I remember when I first started smoking, the first time someone said, "Hey, bro, you should check this out." Thinking that we were cool back in the early 90s. I was like 10 years old. I don't know, 9 years old, whatever that age was. And I remember how nasty it was, and it created the cough. But then, like anything else, you're around it so much that soon it doesn't even matter if you're smoking 3 packs. You're just consuming. And this is the news. And so, unless you've been separated from it, like I'm telling you, like I have, diving back into it, you can see the murkiness of it. It's like another cigarette. If I were to pick up a cigarette right now and put it in my mouth and inhale, I would probably start coughing and gagging. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. And so it's the same thing with the news. It's disgusting to hear the negativity, the energy that's coming behind about, talking about the president. And then this is free enterprise. I get it. It's a monopoly. I get it. People are still playing Monopoly when we should be playing Cash Flow 101. But that's okay. You want to take everybody out, you keep playing that game. That's just, it is what it is. But what I'm saying is, I felt nasty. I felt mad. I felt angry inside just by listening for the few minutes that I was listening to the news broadcasts. That's how it made me feel. And so it's a real thing. And so many of you are out there poisoning yourself the same way. Like I used to poison myself when I smoked. It's the same thing, except it's mental. You're mentally, digesting and intaking all this information, and it's all negative. There ain't no positive in that information. There isn't any positive. They try to, their sarcasm. I mean, it's off the charts. If it was off the charts in those days, it's really off the charts. I mean, the news has gone crazy. The information that we're getting from these people, and who are these people? These are people that get paid to do what? To talk shit. That's all they do. And so I'm sitting here and it's like, I'm not saying that there's not any good information. What I'm saying is that how I felt just in those few minutes. And so this is the poison that you're feeding yourself, because this is the same thing in any channel. All those channels, they're just like feeding you poison, and you're just consuming it. And so then someone like me comes around, right? Someone like me comes around. Nothing is special. There's nothing special about me. I mean, I might be special ed, but there isn't nothing special about me. The only thing is that I decided to separate myself from smoking cigarettes, right? From the nastiness of that, because it was killing me. And so the information that you're receiving is killing you. If you don't believe me, here is an example. Here is an example of information. I throw some positive information within all the negative information that you're listening to, and all of a sudden it's like, boom! It just collides. It crashes. It's like oil and water. It doesn't mix. And so it's really tough to have that seed. And the Bible talks to us about when we spread the seed, it's going to fall on hardened hearts and hardened, he uses the parable he uses as far as the ground, but let's just say hardened hearts and hardened minds. Hardened minds. corrupted minds. Not that you're corrupt. The information that's coming from the tube to you is corrupted. And so, again, here we come with a light, and it's like, whoa, it's like right now, I've been in this darker room for most part of the day because I don't go out right now except to do the things that I need to do. And so I'm out there. It's beautiful out there. I thank the Lord for the day, because regardless of whatever is happening, the sun rises and the sun sets every single day. And so I'm out there and I'm looking and it's like, it's so beautiful, but my eyes are like, I have to adjust my eyes because it's like, oh man. And then all of a sudden it's like, I can see the sun, I can feel it on my skin, and it's like, wow. And I'm just out there for like a couple of minutes and I'm sweating already. I'm like, wow, Lord, thank you. Thank you for this day. And then I come back inside and it's like, whoa. I get thrown off because it's so dark. It's not really that dark in here, but it's just dark. And so I'm like, I have to readjust my light, right? And so it's readjusting my focus. And so I hope that you can understand what I'm saying. It's readjusting our focus. It's never a good time if you're always negative. And even when you're positive, it's never a good time. That's why the Lord gave me that subject. So when is it a good time? Well, it's a good time right now. But it's not. What? That makes no sense. It makes perfect sense. Because if we generalize, because things are generalized a lot in the public. And so I'm just giving you a general idea of how we can look at things, and with a broader stroke, right? We're gonna broaden it up so much so you can't even see my hands, because my hands, it's just a broadness to it, right? The camera's only focused right here. The camera's not focused on what's happening in my peripherals, right? And so they paint such a broad picture in the news that it messes with our focus, like the light when I walk outside and when you walk inside. Those of you that have experienced that know what I'm talking about. This is why we have sunglasses and all these other things, because we're constantly moving from one source of light to another. And so then here I come spreading information like it's time to jump out and start doing things again. But Fonz, it's not a good time. It's never a good time. Things that have to get done have to get done. Period. Now, let me give you an example, right? Let's try to focus in a little bit so we can see within these lines here. When it's time to start eating better, when it's time to start eating better, we say, I'm going to start tomorrow. And it's not tomorrow's fault that you're not willing to start right now. We put off for tomorrow what we need to start doing right now. But what does this have to do with the virus, Fonz? No, you're comparing apples to oranges. Hold on. So then, the doctor, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, no more monkeys, no. So the doctor says, you have high cholesterol, you need to start eating better. You need to start doing that now, because right now, you have all these issues, and if you continue doing this, you're going to have a heart attack. But my knee hurts, and I messed up my knee, and I fell, and I can't really do anything. That's tomorrow. Your knee is tomorrow. But your heart needs it right now. So what do you need to do? Even though your knee hurts, and you can possibly do more damage to your knee by getting started, you have to start somewhere, and it's never the best time, except it's always the best time. Right now. So we stepping up a notch, get a little hotter. Just gonna get a little bit heat. Okay, well, now let's talk about this situation with the quarantines. When is it a good time to start stepping out? Well, when the governor says, oh, well, what do you know? Let the scientists tell us. So then, let me give you some perspective on engineering. Let me give you some perspective on what it's like to be on the field for those of you that are talking like this. Here's another example. We pay the smartest people on the planet to engineer, to plan and put together a project. Let's say the project has to do with a building, as an example. And the skyscraper is going to be, 27 stories. Or 30 stories. It's one of those. Pay millions and millions of dollars for these highly educated people to come in and design everything for us. So that way we can put their ideas and their principles and the engineering as far as weight, as far as how much we got to dig down, all those things. These are qualified people. And we begin to build based off of those specs. We're following those specs to the T. To the T. Because we're skilled in our labor. But then we begin to realize that there's something wrong. And we go to the engineers. We go to the architects. And we advise them of this situation. Pay attention. We advise them on the field of the situation that we're seeing on the ground. They don't advise us. They've given us the blueprints of what we should be doing and how we need to be doing this. Yet, we're on the field and we can see something that they can't because they're not in the field with us. They're in the office. That's their job. So we tell them. Now, here's where it begins to get a little iffy. We begin to tell the engineers and the architects and those people that are way more educated than those that are on the field. And the response can be twofold. Now, we have those architects and engineers that will act like this. We know what we designed. We're smarter than you. We're the ones with all of the doctorate's degrees and the bachelor's degrees and all these things. You guys just do what we tell you to do. Okay. Cool. We've brought you the information. We're going to take notes and make sure that we put this information right here because we brought you the information. We continue. Keep going, keep going, keep doing it. We're seeing the problems. We're seeing the problems that are having to deal with engineering. We're seeing the problems that have to do on the field. But hey, they're telling us this is how it needs to be done. Not only that, they have backing from others. Okay? So then we get the inspectors to come out to inspect, because that's what happens in this process of building. And the inspectors come out and they start to tell us, hey, do you guys notice something different going on here? Do you guys notice these situations? We're starting to have stresses and stress cracks and all these situations happening. Why? Why are we having these things? Well, let's take a look. So then we go back to our blueprints. Well, we're following the blueprints to spec. Let's take the measurements. Let's double check and triple check and quadruple check our numbers. But we still have some notes over here. Inspector's like, yeah, something's wrong. We got to stop. Wait a minute. What do you mean we got to stop? We're almost done. No. We got to stop. And he pulls out a pen from his pants or whatever it is. And it just so happens he has a marble in his pocket. And the marble falls on the ground that we're standing on. And it begins to roll. And not only roll, but it begins to gain speed in the opposite direction of where we were standing. So we all look at this thing and it's just, boom, just taking off. Well, it turns out at the foundation level, somehow, somebody in the office, the highly educated person in the office, the people that study these things and put these things on computers, that computers can't go wrong, somehow got a small detail wrong. And that's all it takes to bring the whole building down. Now, what I'm telling you is a true story. This building is in San Francisco. It exists.